All right, so for this video, we are going to be going over a really awesome program called Stax, a really awesome free program, I should say, called Stax. And what it does is it stacks star photos. So if you've taken a bunch of pictures of stars, all as an image sequence that you want to stack all together to create that really cool light streak look, this is a great program to do this. Now, I've usually do this in Photoshop, but if you don't have Photoshop or you don't want to pay for Photoshop, Stax is a really good alternative to it. So let's just sort of jump right into it here. We're going to open up the program. Super simple interface. Couple of things to point out. You got where you drag your images over to the left there. You want to find where all your images are, sort of drag them all over there. Make sure you've saved your images as an image sequence so it knows what to do. And you can do that whatever program that you do, whether it's your camera, file names or whatnot, as long as they're in some sort of a sequence. Make sure you click Save after each step as well, and make sure the blend mode is set to lighten. If you hover over it, it'll show you all the different things that it'll do with those, but lighten is kind of what we want to use for this. And select somewhere to save your photos. Because they will have a new name, essentially, after you've done the processing. And you just go up to the top left there, and on the fourth button over, it says Start Processing. And as you can see, it'll start doing its thing. And what it's doing basically is it's creating a stack of images to take each of those individual images and make one final image with all of the images stacked together to create that star trail look, which is really cool. And while it's doing its thing, I'm just going to let it render in real time so you can kind of see how long it does take. This is about 20 images or so that I shot the other night. And I've got a pretty decent system, a quad-core i7, 4GB graphics card, 32 gigs of RAM. And this will sort of show you sort of how long it'll take to do its thing. Also wanted to point out that this photo sequence was done in an urban environment. I live in the Greater Vancouver area of Canada, and this was taken up at a little hill called Burnaby Mountain, where Simon Fraser University is, and this is right smack in the middle of an urban environment. It's kind of wedged in between Burnaby, Vancouver, North Van. So this is a good example of the ability to shoot star trail photography or astrophotography in an urban environment and get pretty decent results. If you went out to the suburbs or the boonies, would you get better results? Probably, but this is a good example of what you can get if you are in the city. Big thing to point out is if you are in the city or in a town and you do want to get this type of thing, try to head a little bit north of where the main light source or light pollution is, because then you will sort of be ahead of it and you won't get it in your shot as much. That's kind of a big tip. If you're going to sort of do this in your backyard or whatnot, or in your town, make sure you're kind of north of the main light source. All right, so that did its thing, and we're going to sort of take a quick look at how that ended up. And if you go to where you saved them, I'm going to go into my edit folder here. I believe I saved them here. These are all my main images, and as you can see, these are the Stax ones. So it gives it a name, all that kind of stuff. So if you sort of double click on one of the middle ones, as you can see, really cool light streaks happening. Go down to the very last one, which will just kind of be the final one with all of the light streaks. And open that up and take a look at that. Yeah, looks pretty cool. I think my final crop will probably crop out the little town at the bottom right there, but overall it's pretty good. Really good, actually. We're going to close that down, and what we're going to do now is there's a little thing called comet mode, and what this will do is it will kind of give each of the light streaks a little tapered tail to kind of add a little bit more oomph to the final image, give it a little bit different of a look. So we're just going to go back and reset everything. We're going to use the same sequence of images. We're going to click on comet mode. And make sure that you can adjust the length of the comet trails. I'm just going to keep mine in the middle. Make sure you save after each step again, and find possibly a new folder to save it in so you don't kind of get them all mixed up. I'm just going to name this one Comet. And we're going to go ahead and select that, and blend mode, lighten, all that kind of stuff. Click the process button and let it do its thing. And again, I'll just let this run in real time, and we'll see what it looks like. And while it's doing that, I can just sort of go over a couple of the things when it comes to shooting this type of stuff. Like I mentioned, make sure you're kind of as away from a major light source as you can be. But also a few other things to keep in mind. Make sure you've got a really sturdy tripod, so that all your images are nice and sharp. Well, as wide a lens as you can, because you want to kind of get as much of it of the sky in there as you can. So if you've got your kit lens 18 to 55 or whatever, put it on 18 mil. If you've got a super wide like a 10 to 15 or 10 to 14 or whatever, maybe try it at 10 or 12 millimeter. Bring a flashlight, because you will be out in the dark. That's very, very important, a good flashlight. If you have a headlamp, bring a headlamp, because it is invaluable as well. Just pick one up at the dollar store or drugstore or Amazon or whatnot. I use an Energizer one that I picked up at a local drugstore. I'll put the link to it in the description there. Yeah, those are invaluable. And gloves. Bring gloves if you're shooting during the fall or winter. Fall or winter is probably the best time to shoot this kind of stuff, because you get a lot less haze in the air, and it's great if you can get out, maybe a day or two after it's rained, and if it's nice and clear, because all that kind of moisture has kind of got all the crud out of the air and the haze out of the air, and a good sturdy camp chair or stool, because you're going to be shooting for a while. Something like this number of images, you're going to be shooting for at least an hour. So bring a chair. All right, and that was, we're going to take a look at those, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom here and check out that final image, and you can kind of see the difference between that and the one before it. Yeah, see, that's pretty cool, eh? It gives it that kind of tapered look. Yeah, see, that's great. I'll totally dig that. The commercial viability of an image like this is pretty good. It's a stock photo or whatnot. But what we're going to do here is we're going to open this image sequence up in Photoshop and create an animation to it, which is kind of cool. So if you want to leave it as is like this, you've got really cool images, and you can upload that to sort of wherever you want. But we're going to add a little bit of animation to it. So you want to go up to File, Open, find your image sequence, click on the very first one. Make sure you click on that little image sequence box there, so Photoshop knows that it's an image sequence. Click on Open. Set your frame rate to 24 frames per second, because that's a nice cinematic frame rate. Click on OK, or Open I should say, and oh, you just got an image. Now what do you do? Well, you got to open up the video timeline. And yes, you can do video editing in Photoshop. A lot of people either forget that or don't know that. If you click on Timeline from the window drop down, this is your video editing timeline. And video editing in Photoshop, it's a little clunky, but it's good if you need it in a pinch. Maybe add some title to your video or an audio track or something. But yeah, it's a good basic video editing program. If you don't have anything else and all you have is Photoshop, you can always use it. So if you click play, you'll see that it's kind of, what it's doing is it's taking that image sequence and it's stacking them, but it's stacking them in sequence. So you're going to end up with a, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's an animation that shows the images being stacked together in sequence. You'll see what it looks like. I'll show you. Anyway, so once it's in, actually it doesn't need to do anything. You just go up to File, Export, click on Render Video, and it'll open up a little dialog box in terms of what you want your settings to be and your file name and all that kind of stuff. We're going to just choose Stax 1 because we're going to do the Comet one after this. Find somewhere to save it. I'm going to put it in a video folder just so that it is separate. And put it in my Stax folder. That's the name of the folder. Excellent, yes. Click on Select. And from here, you're going to use Adobe Media Encoder. I'm going to set it to high quality. As you can see, this drop-down menu's got a whole bunch of different presets. High quality is fine, but if you want to do a 720 or if you want to strictly do the YouTube one, whatever, I usually just do high quality. We're going to keep it the regular size, document size, which was the image size. We're going to make sure that it's 24 frames per second. We're going to click render, and we're going to let it do its thing. And this is, like I said, Photoshop is not the best video editor, but it's good in a pinch, and it's good for stuff like this. If this is all you have, then that's all you got. Super easy to do. I mean, you just open up your image sequence and away you go, and it does its thing. You just click render video and let it do its thing. And yeah, so as I was getting back to sort of what you need, yeah, tripod, headlamp, flashlight, good sturdy chair, gloves, toque, or those of you south of the border, a beanie. Up in Canada, we call it a toque. Yeah, oh, look at that. That looks pretty good. Take a look at it again. Yeah, so that looks pretty neat. Good little animation. We're going to do the same thing with the comet ones. We're going to open up that image sequence, same process, 24 frames per second. And we're going to do the same thing. Make sure the timeline is there. Click on, yeah, as you can see, it's going to add that those little comet trail look. And we're going to go, we're going to go over to File and Export and Render Video. Same thing, all the same settings, same folder we're going to save it to. We're just going to change the name, Stax 2. I'm going to name this one, all the same settings. And yeah, H.264, document 24 frames per second, cool. And click render, do its thing. And I mean, I love doing this kind of stuff. You know, this was super impromptu. I just kind of, it was a clear night, easy to get to. I just grabbed my gear and headed out. But yeah, it was a pretty cold night. So if you do go out again, you know, make sure you're dressed for the weather. Nice jacket, gloves, toque, beanie, chair, all that kind of stuff. I love doing this kind of stuff, and you can do this for your own personal enjoyment. You can do it for as B-roll stock footage. You can sell it through your website. You can sort of do a whole bunch of different things you can do this for. This type of stuff sells pretty well, so just to keep that in mind. It's just good sort of B-roll type stuff. And I love doing it. It's a ton of fun. You're out there by yourself and you're getting creative and whatnot. I'm just going to save this image sequence thing as a PSD file just so that I have a backup in case I want to go back and reopen it. I'm going to name it Stax. Just put it in my raw folder. Click on save and click OK. And let's take a look and see what that looks like. Alright, yeah, see, it's kind of cool. So you got that cool comet trail to it. Yeah, let's take another look. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, good commercial viability for stuff like this. Yeah, Stax, fantastic program. Free. Like I said, I'd usually use Photoshop for this kind of stuff, but Stax is great. And as always, if you like this video, go ahead and click the old thumbs up button there and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. And we will see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.